Life can sometimes be full of unpredictable challenges, and a series of unfortunate events can bring a person to the brink of adversity. This is the story of a man who experienced business failure, the death of his parents, the divorce of his wife, and a suicide attempt, but eventually came out of it and found meaning in his life. Business failure and bankruptcy. The protagonist of this story is an entrepreneur who used to run a small business. Unfortunately, however, due to market changes and financial difficulties, his business failed and he eventually went bankrupt. This failure not only cost him his savings but also dealt a heavy blow to his self-esteem. Loss of parents. After his business went bankrupt, the protagonist's life became even more difficult. During this low period, he unfortunately lost his parents, which made him feel lonely and helpless. His parents were his support and reliance in life, and their death has left him with a great sense of loss. Wife divorce, suicide plot. To make things even more unbearable, the protagonist's wife decides to divorce him, leaving him heartbroken and alone. This emotional shock makes him feel desperate and he thinks that there is no hope for his life. So, he makes an extreme decision to try to cut open his carotid artery to end it all. However, fate does not allow him to run away from his problems so easily. When he attempted suicide, he was saved by accident. All this seems to indicate that God had not yet finished his mission. Rediscovering the meaning of life. After the accident of his suicide attempt, the protagonist begins to reflect on his life. He realizes that although life has been a series of sufferings and failures, it is not the end. He decides to rediscover the meaning of life, and takes active steps to change his situation. First, he sought professional counseling to deal with his emotional distress and trauma. He learned how to cope with stress and rebuilt his self-esteem. Second, he decided to look for a new career opportunity, which he was no longer afraid to try, even though he had already experienced business failure. He found a job and became active in the community, building new relationships. Most importantly, he found a spiritual anchor and began to explore religious and spiritual aspects. Believing that it was God or that he survived, he became involved in religious activities and found spiritual comfort and guidance. This experience has taught us that even in the face of despair, we should not give up so easily. God or fate may deal us a heavy blow, but they will also help us when we need it most. Remember, there is always a way out of life, and as long as we are brave enough to face the difficulties and don't give up hope, we can find a new light.